Hey guys, welcome back to day 20 of the Fontana Fit New Year, New You Kickstart Plan. And again, we should be well on our way. It should be a new year, new you now. We're in February, we should be on track with those goals. If we're not, hopefully this video can help spark up some ideas and how to help you get to your fat loss or your weight loss goals. And let's jump right in. So number one, what we're looking at here is sleep. So again, starting ahead of the game, getting your sleep, getting a good quality 8 hours of sleep a night is going to help you make better decisions throughout the day. It's going to make you more rational, it's going to make you more logical, and it's going to help you have that energy to prep your food instead of if you have low quality of sleep, less than 8 hours, 6 or 5 hours, you become a lot more emotional, you become a lot more irrational. And what you do there is when you're in that state, you're then going to reach for the first thing that you see in the cupboards, whether that's the cookies or the biscuits or the crisps or the chocolate. You know you can feel that when you're not really firing in all cylinders if you've not had a great night's sleep. So sleep is a massive one to get you ahead of the game and make you make those good decisions throughout the rest of your day. Also recycles your hormones as well, gets your mind right, gets your body right, all the internals. So sleep is a massive advantage to helping you get to your weight loss, fat loss goals. The next one is on sequence here is coffee. So after you've had a great sleep, some coffee as well. That's why a lot of fat burning tablets contain a lot of caffeine. Caffeine has been shown in lots and lots of studies now to help improve human performance in sport. It desensitizes your perception of pain, helps you push harder than naturally without the caffeine supplement in you. But also in terms of fat loss and weight loss tips, I get a thermogenic effect. So what it does is if you've had a really strong cup of coffee, or if you have taken any of those sort of fat burning pills, which I don't agree with, because if you take them and if you get any underlying heart conditions, then that could be a massive, danger. But having a cup of coffee, strong cup of coffee, a couple of shots, you kind of feel yourself get a little bit warm, you maybe feel that you're starting to perspire a little bit. That's the thermogenic effect of caffeine. And what it's doing is it's speeding up the thermogenesis effect in terms of increasing your metabolic rate, so your basal metabolic rate. It also helps you use fatty acids for oxidation and fuel, sparing carbohydrates. So caffeine's got a really good way of allowing you to unlock your fatty acids for energy and not just your carbohydrates as well. The next one is little and often versus lots and not often. So what I mean by that is some people need to experiment where they want to have little meals per day, whether it's 4 or 5 meals, small meals per day, or if they want to have, 1 to 3 larger meals per day and not snacking in between. There's some variations with that. With if you're going little and often, you're kind of stabilising your blood sugars. When you're, going very big meals and then, windows of, fasting, then your blood sugar can drop, and if you don't respond well to that, and then that makes you want to crave sugary, high carb, high processed foods, then maybe the sort of 3 staple meals with cutting out all junk in the middle might not be for you, and maybe you want to bring yourselves into the little and often category where you're having smaller meals more frequently throughout the day. You won't feel as hungry at certain points, and your blood sugar will also be stable as well. The next one is, moving on from the sort of diet, is intermittent fasting. There's a massive research, and a lot of people are doing this intermittent fasting where you will fast for say 16 hours of a 24-hour period, and from your first hour to the last, you'll fit in your calories for the day, whether that's 2,000, whether that's 2,500, whether that's 3,000 calories. You'll eat that within the sort of anywhere between 6 and 8 hour window, and then you'll fast for the following 14, 16, 18 hours per day. And again, for males, it's shown that it spikes your testosterone levels, it spikes your growth hormone levels, and again, those things are needed to help burn fat, get lean muscle tissue, and drop that weight. So again, studies have shown that helps with weight loss and fat loss, again, only if it works for you. Again, if people don't like starving themselves for 14 to 16 hours a day, then maybe it might not be for you. Again, like the sort of large and less, that category where when your blood sugar starts to go down and you can't cope with that well, and you're then starting to crave those bad foods, then maybe you want to, even though you might know that intermittent fasting can work, it might work for some people, but it might not work for you, so you might not need to go into that little and often category. The next one is eating more fruits and veggies, eating more whole foods, not in terms of just fruits and veggies, but again, you know, like making sure you're having stuff from fridges, you know, fresh food, whether that be the meat, whether that be the fruit, whether that be the veg, getting it from a fresh source instead of the things that are on the shelf that last for, you know, 2 or 3 years, that are packed with sort of processed sugars, trans fats, all these chemicals that help store and keep a food sort of in its steady state for a long period of time. If that can last on the shelf for 2 or 3 years, it's kind of not going to be good when it goes into your body. So just remember that, you know, you leave a banana or an apple out in a kitchen worktop, you know, within 4 or 5 days, it's done, you know, because it's very, very fresh. So what you're trying to do is make sure you go more towards the fresh foods and not towards the sort of high processed with the chemicals and the preservatives and things lasting for a very long time. The next one is water. So making sure that you're having a lot of water throughout the day. So making sure you're having anywhere between sort of 2 and 3 litres per day. If you're doing a lot of activity, you can go all the way up to sort of 3.5, 4 litres per day. But again, usually a lot of people, when you're actually thirsty, they think they're hungry. And if they just had some water or some sparkling water, they'd actually feel that so-called hunger pangs disappear because they're actually thirsty. So a lot of people actually mistake thirst and hunger because they sometimes have that empty stomach feeling. If you start drinking a little bit of water, some fluids, and you feel that hunger sensation disappear, you knew you were just thirsty. The last one we're going to speak about is cardio and weights, and when to implement them and how to implement them into your training. I'm a big believer in both. I'm a big believer in doing them at the right times and periodization in the right times of the year. But there's a lot of sort of YouTube trainers or online coaches that talk about cardio makes you skinny fat, or does it make you lose weight, or doesn't get you shredded, or doesn't get you lean. When what is the one most important thing on top of a calorie deficit that UFC fighters, MMA fighters, boxers do to help them lose weight fast? Cardiovascular exercise. They'll go on the treadmill with a sweatsuit, they'll go on the bike or the cross trainer, they'll go out running in a sweatsuit. Why? Because cardiovascular exercise actually makes you lose weight quicker than doing weight training. So again, combined, help accelerate that weight loss. But what I'm trying to do here is debunk those myths that some of these advertising trainers, when you first see the YouTube video pop up, you see this guy with a six-pack and going, don't do cardio. Bodybuilders do cardio on the way up to their show. They increase their cardio. Why? To bring their body fat down so they look phenomenal on stage. Think about this logically. Do not get hyped into that BS where you see an ad or you see some trainer with lots of money that can put something into an ad and tell you that this is fake and this doesn't work. It works. And also show me a skinny fat Olympic athlete who is an endurance runner. They're all very lean, they've all low body fat percentage, and all perform to the highest level. Also, people say cardio makes you lose your muscle mass and your muscle size. Let's say that to rugby players when they're playing 80 minutes, 85 minutes on a pitch. Again, they train all through the week, 2-3 hours a day, doing running, doing sprints, doing hill runs, doing circuit training as well as weight training. I'm not shitting on anything here, but what I'm trying to do is get these myths out your head. Is also cardio doesn't make you lose those gains either, because if they did, we better tell those rugby players so they get off the pitch. Right, and again, weight training is really, really good, because what we do there is we increase our lean muscle mass, we increase our muscle density, and what we do there is we actually increase our basal metabolic rate. So what I mean by that is, right now, say, you know, I don't have as lean a muscle mass or lean muscle density right now, but I start doing weight training, and in 6 weeks time I come back on camera, and if we had a dietitian, hooked me up with, all the electrodes and said, what's my basal metabolic rate now after 6 weeks of weight training? It could be higher. So what's happening is I am burning more calories at rest than what I was 6 weeks prior to starting weight training. So that's what basal metabolic rate means. So you're kind of just, if I could talk about upgrading your engines, so you went from a Toyota Prius to maybe a Ford to then a Ferrari. And what you want to do there is you're guzzling more petrol and more fuel. So for a car it's bad, but for a human being, we want to actually be less economical in that department, because we want our body to use up those fats and those carbs as fuel instead of being stored around our waistline. Weight training allows that lean muscle mass, that muscle density to increase your basal metabolic rate, and then helps you burn those fats and those carbs and those calories at rest without actually going out and doing any more exercise. But again, if you don't use it, you lose it, so you need to keep up that weight training. The same as if you need to keep up that cardio to maintain those good gains. So again, hopefully you enjoyed this video. Hopefully you found some of it insightful, or all of it insightful. Maybe some of it you already knew about, some of it you didn't. You found some more gold nuggets and gems in there. I debunked maybe some myths that people think that only doing weight training is the only way to lose weight. When you think about it, if you really do think about it, what do bodybuilders do before they step on stage? 4 or 5 weeks out, 6 weeks out, increase their cardiovascular exercise to really strip them down, strip their body fat down, make them look nice and lean, ripped and vascular. MMA, UFC, boxing, they all do the same thing to bring their weight down so fast. Alright, so don't be scared to go out and do cardio, don't be scared to lift weights. It's all a balance, and everything has its own importance at every time in a training program. Hope you enjoyed this video. See you soon.